Army bugle rocks Elvis, rolls from bunk at 5:30 a.m. Fort Smith, Arkansas. The blaring notes of a recorded bugle call sounded at nearby Fort Chaffee in northwest Arkansas today, and Private Elvis A. Presley, serial number US 533-10761, rolled out of bed. The time was 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. He had 15 minutes to shave and make his bunk. Then came roll call, breakfast, and 5 hours of tests to determine what kind of work America's rock and roll singing idol will be assigned to following 8 weeks of basic infantry training. The celebrated draftee held up his right hand at Memphis Monday and took the oath that made him a private in the Army. Then he set out with 13 other draftees and 7 volunteers for Fort Chaffee in a bus. As it rumbled toward his new place of employment, Presley probably counted as peanuts the $78 he will earn as a private. His net income last year was nearly $1 million, but 78% of the first $200,000 went to income taxes and 91% of the rest went toward the same purpose. Thus, the government will lose a lot of money in turning Elvis the pelvis into Elvis the private. March 25th, 1963. Youth Center to open here soon. Plans for a Christian youth center here are nearing the completion stage, and the newly appointed board of directors expects to have the center open by May 4th. It was announced today. The group expects to rent part of the Gregory Building at 9th and Vine Streets and will occupy the portion behind and joining the Gospel Gift Shop. Funds are to be raised by voluntary contributions in the sale of honorary memberships at a cost of $10 annually or $1 per month. There is to be no charge for the use of the facilities. As interest grows, additional evenings will be set aside for recreation, and church groups are invited to use the facilities for social activities. Those attending business meetings so far are Reverend Norman Grussie, Reverend Edward Summerfield, Reverend Chester Martin, Gail Gwynn, Jack McDaniels, Jean Zirkle, Edna Habicht, and Irma Augsburger. A constitution has been adopted and legal work is being done to incorporate as a non-profit organization. Those desiring to help with the project or wishing more information may phone 832-2256 or inquire at the gift shop. March 27, 1963. Schoolgirl kept home because mom objects to square dances. St. Louis. A teenage schoolgirl was kept home from classes today because her mother wouldn't let her square dance. Mrs. Emily Rissinger, the mother, said she did not want her daughter, Armathea, 15, to square dance because of their religious beliefs. Mrs. Rissinger said Armathea was sent home twice by R.E. Noble, principal of Hodgins School, despite the fact that she had written to the principal and on 2 occasions visited the school. Noble, in a letter to Mrs. Rissinger, said that unless we get a statement from a doctor that she is physically unable to take the physical education classes or have received a letter from a minister stating that it is against her religious principles, she will be expected to participate in these classes. Won't you please try to get one of the 2 mentioned sources to write a statement for you? Noble asked, if this matter is not taken care of in the next couple of days, I will have no alternative except to follow the directive of my assistant superintendent and issue a permanent suspension. I hope the matter can be settled without the suspension. Mrs. Rissinger said she had not sought a letter from the Live Branch Bible Presbyterian Church because she does not attend regularly and does not know the pastor. The pastor, the Reverend George Cooper, said although he did not know the child, he would write a letter if I felt this was a real reason. Mrs. Rissinger said when her daughter attended the Scruggs Elementary School last semester, she was given something else to do while her classmates took dancing lessons in physical education classes. She said it was not necessary for her to furnish a pastoral letter. Armatha was suspended last Thursday when she refused to dance. When she returned to the school Tuesday after a visit by her mother, she again was sent home, Mrs. Rissinger said. Assistant Superintendent H.C. Van Reen said if dancing is against the child's religion, we do not force them to take dancing lessons, but we have to have evidence that they belong to such a creed. March 24th, 1978. Rough seas rip apart hulk of battered Amaco Cadiz. Brest, France. Rough seas and high winds tore apart the broken hulk of the supertanker Amaco Cadiz off the coast of Brittany today, spilling thousands more gallons of crude oil to add to a history's worst oil spill. A Navy spokesman said strong currents ripped the aft superstructure of the ship completely away from its main section as the battered tanker heaved during the night on razor-sharp reefs where it ran aground March 16th. Winds gusting up to 65 miles per hour sent waves crashing 30 feet over the wreckage of the 230,000-ton supertanker. It is not yet clear exactly how the rate of the spillage will be affected, the Navy spokesman said, but it is certain oil will be coming out faster after last night's breakup. The bottom part of the hull became completely visible from the shore a mile away, and the oil gushed rapidly into the coal-black sea. Before the break, 170,000 tons of Arabian crude oil had poured into the sea, and 50,000 more tons were sloshing inside the damaged holds. It was all the oil aboard the Amaco Cadiz. It is all the oil aboard the Amaco Cadiz escapes. The 220-ton slick would be more than twice the size of the 100,000 tons unleashed on the British coast by the 1967 Torres Canyon disaster. The American-owned Amaco Cadiz spill already has killed millions of birds, fish, and oysters and oozed onto tourist beaches, which provide much of the income for local residents. A worker helping clean up the 110 miles of polluted French coastline said perhaps in 10 years' time it will be clean again. As long as there is any oil in that ship, our plan is to pump it off, Commander Francois Guillot, a French Navy spokesman, told UPI Thursday. But under these conditions, we cannot get down to work, and by Easter Sunday, the holds will be empty at the rate the oil is gushing out. French Prime Minister Raymond Barre, who visited the region earlier in the week to hoots and catcalls, accused the Italian captain of the American-owned ship of grave negligence in the wreck and said the owners will have to foot the bill for damage. Workers in the tiny fishing village of Port Saul pumped tons of black sludge from the harbor water, but said their task seemed futile. We're never going to get this place clean again, not even if we work all year, 47-year-old fisherman Patrick Legal said. Maybe with time and the weather things will get better. Perhaps in 10 years' time it will be clean again. Legal and his partners removed 5 truckloads of 22 tons each in a day for a grand total of 110 tons. The Amaco Cadiz was carrying 2,000 times that much, and most of it has spilled. March 24th, 1978. Easter puppy. An unexpected pre-Easter visit from that grand old fellow, the Easter Bunny, brought a shy smile to the face of 3-year-old Sean Shepard, son of Mr. and Mrs. John Shepard, Jr., 158 North 10th Street, Clinton. The bunny holds a basket full of black and white puppy, which seems quite contented in the basket as its head is scratched by a new friend. As is custom, the Easter Bunny preferred that his true identity remain anonymous. March 24th, 1989. Afternoon accident leaves teen in serious condition. A Dana youth is in serious condition in the intensive care unit at Union Hospital Terre Haute following a 2-car accident at 3:35 p.m. Thursday, officials from the hospital reported today. Kenneth Shepard, 17, was taken to Vermilion County Hospital with possible head injuries, a skull fracture, and a concussion, according to Indiana State Police officials. A spokesperson from the local hospital said Shepard was transferred to Union Hospital in stable condition. Shepard and Kevin G. Pastore, 15, Clinton, were passengers riding with John P. Verostko, 16, Dana. According to police, Verostko was driving east on Washington Street in Fairview, attempting to cross State Road 63 when he failed to yield the right-of-way to an oncoming vehicle. Verostko pulled into the path of a car driven by Wesley A. Rowcliffe, 52, St. Anne, Illinois, police said. A passenger in Rowcliffe's car, Wilma R. Rowcliffe, 38, same address, was treated and released from the emergency room at the local hospital, according to officials. Pastore refused medical attention for bruises on both legs, police said. The elder Rowcliffe and Verostko were not injured. Verostko was cited for failure to yield the right-of-way, police said. Both vehicles, a 1984 Chevrolet and a 1985 Buick, were considered by police to be total losses. The accident was investigated by Indiana State Troopers Wayne Sager, Mike Kapicic, and Lisa Nave. March 24th, 1998. Accident creates havoc for driver. An accident at a highway intersection near Fairview was just the first of two that occurred in little more than 30 minutes of each other early Monday morning. Gary A. Cooper, 32, rural Clinton, was traveling west on Pike Street in Fairview around 5:42 a.m. Monday when he pulled onto State Road 63 into the path of a 1985 Cadillac driven by St. Charles, Illinois resident Kenneth Bear, 55. There were no injuries. Damage to the passenger side and rear quarter panel of Cooper's 1988 Chevrolet was estimated at $1,001 to $2,500. Damage to the front end of Bear's vehicle was estimated at $5,001 to $10,000. According to a report by Vermilion County Reserve Deputy Teresa Baker. As police were directing traffic around the accident, Christina A. Wallace, 19, was waiting to cross State Road 63 in her 1987 Ford Thunderbird when she mistakenly thought she had been signaled to proceed. As Wallace attempted to drive across the highway, she struck a southbound 1982 Dodge pickup truck driven by Lonnie R. Glaspie, 27, of Centenary. According to Deputy Larry Jones, who investigated the second accident, Glaspie and Wallace were not injured, and damage to each vehicle was less than $750. Assisting at the scene of the first accident were Fairview Town Marshal Rick Baker, Deputy Larry Jones, Indiana State Trooper Tony Gwynn, Fairview Rescue Unit, and Vermilion County Ambulance Service.